Jayde Struhs, who bravely escaped the Toowoomba-based religious group known as the Saints in 2014, delivered a powerful victim impact statement on Friday, as the Brisbane Supreme Court considers sentencing for the 14 adults convicted of her sister Elizabeth's manslaughter. Her escape followed the group's relentless attempts to suppress her sexuality. Their refusal to accept her as a gay woman fueled her decision to leave the community, a community she described. The harrowing details of Elizabeth's death, a tragic consequence of the group's faith-based medical neglect, continue to reverberate through Jayde's life. Elizabeth, a young woman with type 1 diabetes, tragically perished in January 2022. The court heard that her death resulted from the deliberate withholding of her insulin by members of the Saints, fueled by their unwavering belief in divine intervention, a belief that God would miraculously heal her, or even Ray. This horrific act of medical negligence, ultimately deemed manslaughter, has left an indelible scar on Jayde and her family. Among the 14 convicted adults are Jayde's own parents, Jason and Carrie Struhs. The 58-day trial, concluded last September, exposed the chilling extent of the group's control and manipulation. The 14 defendants, unified in their actions, displayed a defiant disregard for the judicial process. They refused legal representation, opted against entering pleas, and actively resisted a pre-sentence mental health assessment. A plea of not guilty was entered on their behalf by the court. Despite this unified front of denial, Justice Martin Burns found them guilty of manslaughter. The gravity of their actions led to a conviction, though the court ultimately acquitted Elizabeth's father, Jason Struhs, and religious leader Brendan Stevens, of the more serious charge of murder by reckless indifference. This distinction, however, does little to alleviate the profound loss and the lingering trauma endured by Jayde. Jayde's victim impact statement laid bare the devastating consequences of the group's manipulative tactics. "These people only wanted to control my family and myself, and everything that we did," she stated, her voice trembling with emotion. "They fed off the power it gave them, eventually pushing my father to his most vulnerable moments, to trust them so they could play God." Her words painted a vivid picture of the insidious control exerted by the Saints, a control that permeated every aspect of her family's lives, ultimately culminating in the tragic and preventable. The statement powerfully underscored the long-term psychological damage inflicted upon her and her family, forcing them to grapple with the profound loss of Elizabeth and the crushing weight of the group's culpability. "The emotional toll," she explained, "is immeasurable. The shadows of their actions cast long and dark over her life. The Queensland law under which the defendants were convicted carries a potential life sentence, underscoring the severity of their crimes." The sentencing process promises a much-needed reckoning, an opportunity for the court to deliver justice and to begin the long process of healing for Jayde and her family. The impact of this case extends far beyond the individual suffering of Jayde and her family. It serves as a stark reminder of the potential dangers inherent in unchecked religious extremism and the devastating consequences of faith-based medical neglect. The sentencing hearing will undoubtedly be closely followed, not only by those directly affected but also by the wider community, grappling with the profound implications of this case. The hope remains that justice will be served, providing a measure of closure and highlighting the critical need for robust safeguards against similar tragedies in the future. The weight of the evidence and the severity of the crime demand a substantial sentence that reflects the profound loss and suffering inflicted upon Jayde and her family. The ongoing repercussions of this case necessitate a thorough and just judicial response. The case underscores the critical need for greater awareness of the dangers of religious extremism and the importance of protecting vulnerable individuals from harm.